Welcome everybody to the Kechi City Council meeting. It is now 7 o'clock on January 23rd, 2025. Debbie, could you please call roll?
Matt Brewer.
Here.
Here. Kenneth Alford. Here. Here.
All right. As we stand for the pledge, I want everybody to stay standing, but I'll let Matt explain why we are going to stay standing for an opening prayer. Can you share why?
Sure. I was ordained as a minister a couple weeks ago and have asked Ashley for this opportunity. So tonight we're going to open our meeting with prayer.
Awesome. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, as we gather together this evening, we're grateful. Father, I just pray that as we discuss matters that impact our city, that we ask humbly for your wisdom and guidance. Lord, I pray that you would bless our discussions with understanding and unity, allowing us to make decisions that uplift our community. Father, I want to pray for those that serve our community, our city employees, our police department. Father, I thank you for each of them. Father, I also thank you for our residents. I pray that you would watch over and protect our community. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, thank you so much for that, Matt. We will move on to approving tonight's agenda. Council shows that we have no consent agenda, so I think we can strike item 6 if Matt's good with that. And we do have an executive session. How long? I think we talked about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
30 minutes? Okay. All right. I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the agenda, striking item number 6 and adding, or keeping the executive session for 30 minutes.
I have a second.
Second.
I have a motion by Todd, second by Matt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. We'll move on to the communication section, Kechi civic groups and committees. And we do have a civic group here that would like to speak this evening. Jared.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jared Kruger. I'm with the Kechi Fair Committee. Right now, as we are as a small group, we've got about 6 members on our committee. And we are asking for 5 more members to be able to join the fair committee, be committed to the come to meetings, help plan, and also help work the events. Right now, with the manpower that we have and from all the work that it takes, 6 of us cannot put on a large fair like we have in the past. So we get to have at least 5 new members committed to the fair committee by our February 20th meeting. They can reach out to us on our Kechi Fair Facebook page, or they can email the fair committee at kechifair88@gmail.com. But that said, if we cannot get those 5 members by our February 20th meeting, there will be no fair this year. And as far as like the smaller events like Easter and stuff like that, it just depends on what kind of manpower we have at that time, and whether those events are going to carry on. But we've got to get some more manpower if we want to continue having a city fair during the spring or summer. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jared. Kechi civic groups and committees. Dana? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a few extra words for that. So I also want to clarify that our relationship with the fair committee and the city has improved, and even with the police department has improved drastically since we have new chief and Matt here. I just want to say, like, you guys have been super supportive and helped us in the past, so that has helped tremendously. So there's no issues there with the city. It's just that we don't, with a small group, we can't do everything. But I also want to share a little bit of backstory because I'm super passionate about the fair. As most of you might know, Kechi has always been my home, and some of my first carnival rides I ever rode were at a Kechi Fair. Like, back before CARN was ever built, it used to be held right there on the corner. And some of the first police officers I ever met when I was a child was at the old fair building, or what is the fair building now, which used to be the old city hall. I got to go trick or treat there and sit in a police car, you know, and those are things that filled my childhood. And I can't imagine if my life without those memories. And there was even a time where our fair was so big that we got to do a pet costume contest. And I won second place because I dressed up my sister's dog as a cheerleader. And I would hate for the children growing up in our community today to not get those opportunities to fill their childhood with. So if we cannot have the fair this year, I do want to say thank you to everyone who has volunteered with us in the past. We really appreciate it. And thank you to Public Works. They do a lot of our work for us because it is a lot. But yeah, we appreciate all the help. But just want to say, please come volunteer with us. The impact you will make is greater than you think. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kendra. Any other comments or questions that maybe we can answer about the fair committee or any other group?
So how do you guys go about recruiting members? What's that look like? How do we get 5 more? How do we get what's needed?
Debbie, it did go in the paper, right? Before I say. Did it go in the paper? The thing that I sent you the other day. No. I'm asking, did Ben actually get it typed out and sent?
Oh,
hey, maybe you know. You're like, I'm just here. Okay, so we put it in the paper. We put it in the paper numerous times. We post on our fair page. Jared posted to the civic group or the groups on Facebook, word of mouth. And I mean, we do our best to recruit, especially during when we're trying to find volunteers to help us with events, which we don't mind doing, but the planning and executing of events is becoming a lot for the members. And with such a small group and such a small timeline to get everything done, it starts to pile. So.
I'm just trying to figure out a way that we communicate a sense of urgency. People know that we need volunteers. They're busy with their lives, but if they see this sense of urgency that if we don't get them, then this event's not going to happen. So how do we create,
And that's why
lost the Kechi lamp, the very bold.
very bold. But we did decide as a fair committee.
Fair could be canceled.
It was decided at the last fair committee that if we did not get 5 members, we will not have the fair this year. So
We can post it on our Facebook page
Yeah.
tonight. We just wanted to announce at this meeting.
that it was happening.
Other than that, I don't know. Tell your neighbors.
Yeah. Tell your neighbors,
Yeah.
tell your friends. So we wanted to continue. We're committed,
Yeah.
but we have to have more people committed than just us.
And donations help too.
Yes. We can buy things to help. So, all right. Any other questions? I don't want to cut off the conversation.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll move on to Kechi Good News. Does any other council member have Kechi Good News before I?
Alright,
Go ahead, Kendra.
Ashley and I were able to witness Matt becoming an ordained minister at his church. And I just want to say that it was a wonderful service, learning about your life. And Kechi is so lucky to have you as one of our students. Yes.
It was a beautiful ceremony. I really appreciated getting to meet your family and seeing all of your grandkids in order. And that was really great to see. So you have an awesome and beautiful family.
Appreciate you attending. Thank you.
Oh, and I have one more. As we all know, after the last council meeting, we had a lot of snow. As we were leaving, I noticed a truck stuck out here in front of the Public Works, right on Sioux, and I called out if they needed any help, and they're like, no, we're okay. And I thought, well, I'll call my husband for some backup, and turns out they were Kechi residents, and they were stuck out there for an hour trying to just get home. Anyways, my husband was able to tow him home, and then on his way home, he got another Lyft driver out, over on Shawnee. And then, of course, course, he got stuck, and some residents came out and shoveled him out. So I just want to say thank you to those residents, and they were all just talking about how it's nice we can come together as a community. So I thought it was great.
And thank you, police department, for making sure everybody was safe during that. Well, we have great memories of that. So I have two, unless any other council member has one before I do mine. All right. So one thing I forgot to mention at the last council meeting was at the first of the year, Wichita did their best ofs. And two businesses here in Kechi did win their first place best ofs in their category. And one of those was Bloomerang. They won best florist. And then Bridget's Cradle did win best nonprofit. So congratulations to both of them. It is well deserved. We are really grateful to have both of those businesses here in Kechi. So also I want to continue to give a huge shout out to Public Works. You guys did an amazing job during the snows. You were out there working really hard. I know you were down some guys because of some illnesses. So the amount of work that you guys put in is amazing and it is well appreciated. So thank you very much from my heart. All right, if there's no other Kechi good news, unless City Hall has any, or Police Department. All right, then we will move on from Kechi good news and move into public comment. Debbie.
Jody.
Jody. And you are good to go whenever.
Okay. Jody Harris, 109 West Chippewa Street, Madam Mayor, members of the council, city staff. I just have a couple of financial questions today. The April 11th, 2024 City Council meeting, the council unanimously approved the Kechi financial plan to be engaged, which was to run from May 20th to August 9th of 2024. The Kansas Public Finance Center at Hugo Wall School of Public Finance of WSU was engaged for $18,416. It's now been over 5 months since the end of that time frame that was given, and I'm just wondering if there's going to be a scheduled time shortly when that would be presented to the council and the residents of this city. Second question, there hasn't been an expense approval report since the October 10th, 2024 City Council meeting. That was for the August expenses. So we are currently missing the September, October, November, and December expense reports to be approved by the City Council, and just wondering when those will be published and before the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to address one of them since we?
Yeah, I can provide an update on the financial plan that will be presented at next month's meeting. Wichita State has been working on it. I have a meeting with them to go over the final plan tomorrow. Ashley and I met with them, about a month ago,
Yeah.
to go over the draft plan. I will meet with David Gow, the professor out there, tomorrow morning. It will be at the next council meeting. So Wichita State, that was kind of one of the first ones they had done for cities. So they kind of took it and ran, and it's a lot more than we had expected. So that's why it took them a lot longer to do it, because they just kept building on the information that they had. So it's a very in-depth and thorough plan, and I'm sure everybody will be impressed with that.
So thank you. I just
Yes.
knew we could address that quickly. So, all right, thank you very much. Any other public comment, Debbie? All right, we will close public comment for the evening. New business. Item 8A, annexation of certain road right-of-ways. Matt.
Mayor and Council, this item is, we've been working with Sedgwick County throughout the year over these annexations of certain roadways. The county, by state statute, has the authority to give those pieces back to us, pieces of property or roadway or right-of-ways that abut the city. It is no financial impact to the city. We already, by kind of a gentleman's agreement or a handshake agreement, through Public Works, maintain those portions of roadway anyway, so it's no impact to the city. It does help square up our boundaries a little bit. It has to do with Kechi would own half of the road and the county would own the other half, so, are we gonna wait for them to grade their half before we grade our half? No, we're just gonna grade the whole thing, so that's what this is. It's just they de-annex those by resolution and we annex them by ordinance.
Council, any questions or continue to say that I still don't like this law and that it's not my favorite, and I tell my legislators all the time when I talk to them that I don't like this law and that I don't like that they do this, so, if you.
Well, I would agree with that, and for other cities, it does have a far greater impact on other cities. And they incur additional maintenance, especially on paved roads. So for us, at this time, the portions that are in this do not affect us, but yeah, it's not a good deal for other cities that have paved roads that they then have to maintain.
I would highly encourage everybody to write your legislators. I mean, this is the time to do it. They're in session. They have, I mean, that's what they're there for, so I would highly encourage you to talk to your legislators. All right, any other questions, council? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve ordinance 1842-25, annexing certain highways within the city and authorize the mayor to sign.
Have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Todd, second by Karen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. Move on to the financial update, Q4 2024. I'm assuming I'm moving to Matt Ron, but I'm gonna look at my agenda.
The ability to do it.
Can I email you a updated slide real quick?
Uh,
For some reason, one of the
Maybe,
slides
we'll
I
try.
wanted to
Yeah.
see was not included.
As they figure out their technical things.
You want your PowerPoint first?
Let me, don't use what I sent you there.
Okay.
I've got another one coming up. I'm a victim of having to save files to a shared group via Teams, and I am constantly sending the wrong version of the file. It should just say slides. Go ahead. When it shows up all. Okay, prior to prior to officially closing out the 2024 books, just want to give you guys a quick, basically a budget report for your major operational funds here. There's still transfers to be done, so that's going to throw a few things off, but I'll explain that as we go through it. First, we'll do this is your treasury report, this is just showing you where your funds are physically located. You can see most of it's in the municipal investment pool. You've got some funds, of course, in your checking account, which is that top operating account there, and then your business money market account as well. I believe there will be some discussion in the short term about moving most of those funds into a higher interest bearing account, so that you'll be able to track that interest better, get better return on your investments, and not have to do so many of the interbank transfers we have to do for operations. It's not a very complicated process based on the current setup you have now, but it's something that needs to be done. So budget performance for major funds. I don't want everybody to freak out if they see a blue number in that bottom right hand that's negative. That's not being your over budget. So for each fund, I've presented revenue, expenses, year to date 2024, which is basically year end 2024, the budget amount, and then a variance there. So if you if the number there was negative on the expense side, then we would have something to worry about. So essentially, we're just showing here that you've got your remaining percentage of revenue of what you budgeted for revenue. If it were on the expense side, you could have done up to another 29%. The important thing here for budget, of course, is the expenditure side, meaning that you've got 48% of your budget remaining to be spent available to you without committing a budget violation. So it's a good thing. And again, too, some of those numbers are going to change because, like I said, there are transfers that still need to be done, so that's going to move some money around from fund to fund, so that'll offset some of those things. I didn't see anything to worry about as far as where your spending is. Again, like I said, you're going to see some changes when you do those interfund transfers, but everything looks good from the budget perspective. All of your utility funds are operating efficiently, and you all will be able to put some money into reserves from those funds, which is a good thing. Let's see here. Yeah, that's all I had on that. And let me see if I can get that other report to come through in the email so I can show you the basically I just wanted to show you your sales tax report, which was, so you can find an older version of that here. So.
Bigger, thank you.
Those are small, I apologize for that. Anyway, just what we're showing is your sales tax went into effect in August of 2020. Well, you started receiving the funds for the August 2023 period. And so this is just a comparison of what those funds look like. It's not a great year to year for the total because, again, you didn't have a full year's worth of collection in 2024. So I would pay closer attention to the bottom chart there showing what that, and this is, again, this is only the 1% city portion. This is the entire sales tax distribution you see. I always break these out by compensated use tax and sales tax. Compensated use tax is essentially sales tax paid outside, collected outside of the district, your taxing district. And the regular sales tax is sales tax collected within the district. So that's why there's two different numbers, but that total there at the end you want to look at. And for the comparison period, you received $106,000 in sales tax this year versus just under $70,000 last year. So that tax is you're getting revenue, and you can see month to month that you are outperforming where you were last year. So, are there any questions? I'm planning to come back in next month with once we get the closing done and everything else, we're going to do a sort of a comprehensive review of the 2024 financials, and I would like to do a sort of a budget, I don't even want to call it budget planning, more like a financial plan for 2025. So you guys have priorities. We're going to, ideally get a little bit more of a performance-based budget going forward in beginning with the 26 budget, and so anxious to get planning started on that as soon as possible. you.
Any questions? Thank you, Matt.
I know this is a little bit of just kind of a high-level overview of where we are. I think it's still good information for everybody to see. This information will be posted on our website under our new transparency link as well, so everybody can see it there. But does council have anything that they would like to see differently as we develop these reports? Any additional information you would have? Certain things broke down further. I don't expect an answer from you tonight, but as you look at them, if you want to see changes, let me know, and Matt and I can make those adjustments, so we're providing the information that you need to make your decisions.
I have my own thoughts on that. What I would really like to see is sort of an operating financial report, meaning that, you know, you've got the complicated transfers, you've got the complications with all your reserve funds that, or your capital funds that are used for typically project-based things. I'd like to show you basically an operating report for your major operating funds tied to, as close as we can, tied to your major operations within each of those funds. So,
That was gonna be my ask, was somehow figure out how to break down so we kind of know where we're at in each fund and
Yeah.
all that. Just be easier for me to picture.
Right.
The 1% sales tax, if I remember right, I think we were planning on predicting, or we thought we budgeted about 90 to 100,000 per year.
Yeah, estimates were about 90,000 per year in collections on those, and we're far ahead of those. I think it was 151,000 is what we had collected, so.
I have my own thoughts about why the numbers are different. The state tends to give underestimates on those. A lot of times they don't even take into account the compensating use
The
tax.
compensating use tax is the big one.
Yeah, so, but that is, you know, that's legally collected portion of that tax, so it's good to have, especially with you guys. I mean, you'll see in a lot of communities that have a lot more retail, the sales tax number will be higher than the compensating use, but you guys are gonna.
Ours is the opposite, yeah.
As your commercial grows, of course, that'll go up.
Good.
Any other questions or comments, council? Seeing none, if you have any, please send them to Matt. We'll move on. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Move on to item 9, old business. Item A, public hearing, IRB ThermoConnect LLC. Matt.
Mayor and council, tonight the council will be asked to consider the NRP, I'm sorry,
IRB.
this is supposed to be IRB.
IRB.
The IRB, we will get that changed. We've looked at this about 50 times and haven't caught that. So, the IRB, which is Internal Revenue Bond, for ThermoConnect. Prior to doing that, we are required to have a public hearing, and that is what this is for. Under recommendations, Mayor, the verbiage for you is there to open the meeting and then close the meeting after comments.
We now open a public hearing regarding the issuance of taxable industrial revenue bonds and accompanying property tax abatements for the purchasing, acquiring, construction, and equipment, a commercial facility in Kechi Business Park for ThermoConnect LLC. Anyone from the public who desires to speak or desires to represent their views on this topic is invited to speak. Seeing none, no members of the public desire to speak. At this time, we now close the public hearing. Okay. And next item, IRB resolution, ThermoConnect LLC.
Mayor and council, this is the agenda item for you to consider the IRBs for ThermoConnect. Before we get into it, I would like to say that Monty Yashiro, who is, I believe I pronounced that right, is the owner of ThermoConnect, was unable to be here tonight. He was going to come and give a short presentation. So I spoke to him this afternoon and want to relay his request to the council. He was going to ask the council to consider changing the 10-year payment schedule for his IRB. The current 10-year schedule, if you look at it, years 1, 2, and 3 are 0%. The business pays 0% property tax. Years 4 and 5, they pay 20%. Years 6 and 7, they pay 40%. Years 8 and 9, they pay 60%. And year 10, they pay 80%. After that, they come onto the tax rolls 100%. The IRB is for ThermoConnect. They will build a building, and as part of their building, they are bringing 2 additional businesses with them that the cost benefit analysis does not cover. So there's actually a greater benefit to this IRB than is being presented because that was not part of the cost use analysis or benefit analysis. So Monty has requested that the city adjust that scale for the last 3 years of it, rather than being year 8 at 60%, year 9 at 60%, and year 10 at 60%, that we continue 40% for those years, and then after that, he would come on the tax rolls at 100%. His request is primarily based on that he is not just bringing 1 business to town, he is bringing 3 businesses to town. And as explained to me today, the reason he can't be here tonight, he is out of state trying to acquire another business that he would want to bring to Kechi as well. So those are his basis for his request, just because the greater benefit to the city.
Council, any questions?
My main question, and I know the answer to this, but I just want to clarify and make sure that he is, so the ThermoConnect business, he's the primary owner,
Yes.
but he's also the primary owner on these 2 additional businesses, correct?
Correct. Yes. They are all his businesses.
And they're all small manufacturing type of businesses.
Yeah, one is manufacturing and one might be more of a distribution type
Yeah.
business, is my understanding. Yeah.
And are there any employee estimates with these other 2 businesses?
I don't have any unless you do through your conversations with him. No. I think it would be minimal, the employees, unless those grow as well.
Right.
But I would imagine maybe no more than 5 per business. But, yeah.
For small manufacturing company, that's good.
Yeah.
And we've got the initial information that's provided the cost benefit analysis, so
Right.
anything for those additional ones would be on top of what's reported in there.
Can you explain a little why they didn't include the other 2 businesses in the cost benefit analysis?
Well, yeah, primarily my understanding is, and Andrew can help, but if each business were to do that, they would have to do a separate cost benefit analysis, and the owner bears the expense of that. So at $1,000 a pop, he would have spent $3,000, whereas by just doing 1, he only had to spend $1,000. And that one cost benefit analysis shows that there is a positive return on the investment.
Any other questions, council?
Do you know if he has any other owners in this, or is he the sole owner of these
I
businesses?
believe he's the sole owner.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that for certain.
I can speak to the family. I have intimate knowledge of the family. They're the family that started Stearman's Restaurant. They currently own Specs and also Metabolic. I've done some work with them in the past, just through law enforcement engagement and local family, local businesses, down home Kansas folks. Successful.
Thank you for that background. Any other questions, council?
I do have a question about, does this set a precedent for other business to request the same type of benefit, or is that a risk for us?
Yeah, well, I'll let Andrew answer half of that. The first part of that question is yes. Any business could come in and ask the council to consider anything else. I think the difference in this one is that past IRBs that have came to council have only been for 1 sole business. This is a business that is bringing 2 other businesses with them with the potential of others. Now, we don't have any guarantee of other businesses, but we know at this point there will be 3 businesses going in that location.
Yeah, I'll give you the answer, give every city council that I talked about IRB. So the law permits you, the council, to grant up to 10 years of 100% tax abatement on properties that have IRBs. Anything adjusted less than that is totally within your policy preferences. And so, any developer or any business owner could come and request up to 100% tax abatement for 10 years. And you can look at every one of those cases individually and determine whether you want to set, no, this is our standard amount that we give to everybody who comes in, no matter what the circumstances are, or you can make adjustments based on that particular application or business at that time. And, you know, whether you feel you're not legally obligated to give one person one thing just because you might have given someone else in a different circumstance, in a different business, a different set of payments in lieu of tax. And so you're not legally bound, but to the extent from a policy perspective you feel that way, that's certainly something to consider.
Any other questions, Council?
And I think for me, the fact that he's the sole business owner, entrepreneur, operating multiple businesses, it's not investors, it's just one person. Trying to make it go with multiple businesses.
Any other discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
And if I can point out just for a
Yes.
second,
You're-
the resolution that's in the packet and in front of you, I assume, is the original schedule. So if you just pass this resolution as it is, it's the original schedule as we described. If you decide to grant his request, I would recommend a motion to approve that resolution and then specifically say with the adjustment of the last 3 years at 40% pilot instead of what's in there. I just want to be clear.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Any questions, or I'll go back to entertaining my motion.
I'm still pondering.
You're fine. We can.
Are there any other questions we can try to answer for you?
I had one on the tip of my brain and now it's gone. Sorry. I had one, but it's left me.
I already entertained the motion. So, again, I'm just here.
You're ready to be entertained.
So what does the verbiage need to be granting his request?
I would suggest you make the motion to approve the resolution with the change that the last 3 years of the pilot schedule will be 40%.
Okay, so moved.
Okay.
Good job. That's the easy way to do it. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion by Matt, second by Todd. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. We passed it. Move on to item 9C, council meeting minutes. Matt, do you want to speak to it, or I can call
I
it
do.
out if you want?
Yeah, I can speak to it. So, Mayor and Council, at the last meeting when you voted on the NRP, the Neighborhood Revitalization Plan, there was some confusion as to who all voted in favor of it and against. And at the end of the meeting, Karen clarified that she did not intend to vote against the NRP, and her vote was actually just a late yes.
That's correct.
To the vote. So, we wanted to clarify that. We have changed, after discussion with her, we changed the minutes to reflect a 4-0 vote, which included Karen voting yes for the NRP. In the spirit of transparency, we just wanted to bring this before the council again, open it for discussion, make sure that is what Karen had intended to do, and let you approve these minutes separate from the consent agenda.
I'll just say that yes, that was an error on my part, that I did intend to vote for the NRP, just for clarification.
All right, any other questions, council, about approving council minutes from January 9th? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the council minutes with the correction. from January 9th, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion by Matt, second by Kendra. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4-0. We will move on to council reports. Does any other council member have a report?
I do.
Go ahead, Kendra.
I got to attend the Sedgwick County Association of Cities meeting that we got to host here at City Hall. There was a presentation by Humankind Ministries, and they provide shelters and services to help homeless from going back on the streets. So it was very informative, and some of the statistics they shared were shocking. I didn't realize that 30% of our homeless are over the age of 60 in Sedgwick County. And that 1 in 4 foster care children in USD 259 become homeless after 2 years of graduating high school. But it's nice to know that our commissioners are passionate about reducing these numbers, because they have been reduced in the last several years, but there's still a lot of work to be done. So it's just nice to learn about what they're doing.
Thank you. Any other report? Any other council members have a report? All right, you got me again. All right, so I also attended the Sedgwick County Association of Cities that was hosted by Kechi. So that's our bi-monthly meeting. Like Kendra said, we discussed the winter shelter and how they run. Some of the things we discussed was the barriers that prevent people, individuals from seeking shelter. And so taking away some of the stigma of the fact that they're turning people away just because they can. It is a no barrier shelter. So anyone can go in. There are a couple rules of you cannot bring illegal substances such as drugs, alcohol, needles, anything like that into the shelter. That is their boundary. They also have 2 security guards on premises at all times, so it is safe. The one thing that they have noticed and are trying to work through is the barrier of individuals with animals. So they are working with the Kansas Humane Society in as many places as they can to make sure that those individuals do have a safe place for their animals to go, because their animals are their family. So making sure we are out there talking about the safety of our residents in all of our cities is definitely important. So just wanted to bring that to light. That they are working through those challenges and to continue to donate, to continue to bring awareness to these issues, because it's not just Wichita's problem, it's all of our problem, and we need to make sure that we are supporting our individuals in our communities. On 1/16, I attended the REAP steering committee meeting. We discussed the REAP membership fee scale for the rest of 2025 and 2026. Looking at restructuring fees to make it more evenly distributed. Another meeting that we hosted was on 1/17. Kechi hosted the K254 corridor, where we voted on our leadership for 2025, which all of the leadership members did stay the same. So congratulations to Commissioner Kelly from Butler County. He is again our president, and he will serve us greatly. And Mayor Jim Benage is our vice president. Also establishing a steering committee to help coordinate the group with how we would like to proceed in our 3 focus areas. And these focus areas include safety, outreach, and advocacy marketing. I have volunteered, sorry Matt, with delegation power, so again, sorry Matt, to be on the steering committee to help make sure that we are thinking towards the future and achieving these focus areas. I also attended on 1/22 the monthly PEC meeting that the city holds, and Todd was in attendance as well. We just discussed ongoing projects that we have with them and got different timelines. Items that I worked on since 1/9 meeting, winter weather discussion and updates, signed checks and invoices, general discussion of unhoused issues in Kansas, newsletter discussion of Facebook post, discussion of the park board, and intersection projects, and various other things that I'm not going to list because it'll take us all night. I added a little section to my council report tonight of announcements. So REAP/Workforce Alliance has rescheduled the South Central Delegation Legislative Forum, and we will be posting that on our Kechi City Facebook page. to announce that this will take place on February 1st from 10 in the morning to 11:30 in the morning at the Workforce Center on Amidon in Wichita. So if you would like to go address your South Central delegation, which we already have a topic we can discuss with them, then I would highly encourage you all to attend. The next bit is the county did select their chair and pro temp leadership, and Chairman Beatty was reappointed as the chair, and Commissioner Meitzner was appointed as pro temp. So congratulations to this area. We have great representation on Sedgwick County, and they'll do an amazing job. And a PSA to the residents. So this is an unfortunate one. We have had some inappropriate behavior from our residents where they are screaming at public works and city staff, and that is not okay. They should not be yelled at for cleaning our streets. They are working as hard as they can to maintain resident safety, and that is not something we here at the city appreciate. And so I wanted to make a public comment that I am not okay with this behavior. If you have concerns with public safety or public works, please email me and I will address it. So, thank you very much. Next item, staff reports.
We will start with Public Works.
Sorry, sorry Thomas, not a good transition.
Okay. Been a while, so. In front of you should be my staff report for December/January. Most of the stuff on here is the same, every month reading gas and water meters. A little colder this month, with the snow and stuff, so a little harder to get out there. Even though the downtown project's not being done, we still gotta update all those locate tickets, every 15 days, so. We had about 70 locates. We did try to start repairing some of the water meters, so we have like a 5-year plan here in town to replace all the old pulse meters and get everybody on a ultrasonic meter, which reads more precise. Residents, it doesn't mean that your bill is gonna go up because of a more precise meter, it just means that we can read down to a smaller amount going through there. It helps us detect leaks a little faster and such, so be on the lookout for that. If you see a guy in your meter pit, he might be changing out, probably Jason. We did install the water meters out there for Messmore, also for the, I'm not sure exactly what it is, hunting lodge / trophy room. Next week we will be installing the gases out there. Also look at upgrading our system here. I've got all the Christmas lights down. We've been working with Mayor and Apex on sewer projects and putting up the signs on the barricades, so that is not a through for anybody, any resident that is actually supposed to be shut down. So please stop taking the barricades down. Please stop throwing them in the ditch. We've already broke some lights on some of the barricades, so working with them with that. We had a couple repairs made to the lift station on floats and such to keep that operating. Pushed snow off streets twice. One time they did, I was not here. They ran through quite a bit. I got quite a few phone calls on when they should start and how much, and so I was unfortunately forced to take some vacation at that time because I had too much. So we did run through all 5,000 gallons of the brine that we had on hand. Most of that stuff has been sitting there for 3 years. We didn't have to put down or apply much. We had quite a bit of outcry, so we recently purchased 2,500 more gallon, another 2,500 gallon tank. We're going to purchase another 2,500 gallon tank, so up our total by another 5,000 gallons. And then look out. So we did buy a new trailer for our gas and water, so when we go out somewhere. Kind of what was brought to our attention was we had a few leaks last year, and Kansas Gas Service or Black Hill showed up. We're going to roll that out. It's going to have a big Kechi logo on it. It's going to say Kechi Gas and Water Utility. That way people in the city can see and know that, we do have our own utility here in town, and just a little more public awareness on that note. So, and you got any questions?
So basically you're saying if we have a leak here in town, call Kechi City Hall and it rolls over to the emergency department, correct?
Please do. When we don't have that, I kinda get in trouble for our public awareness with the state and with the feds, so, know who your gas provider is for sure. The water, we kinda all know, they still call us, but the gas is kind of that oddity. Not a lot of cities have that, so,
Just wanted to call it out. Thank you very much.
yeah, the more I can get it out there, the better, so.
Thank you, thank you. Any questions for Thomas?
Thank you for your work on the snow removal and an ice storm. It's really kind of hard to move snow off the top of the ice, and just the timing and how all that hit was a nightmare for all public works.
Yeah, that was not a good night for me and Jason. I mean, I had 2 guys out with COVID, and so it was just me and him. We went home for a couple hours, came back, basically worked 24 hours straight. Got the main roads pretty much done. Got as much as we could. I started on cul-de-sacs. I actually started down Kinder's cul-de-sac.
Thank you.
About hit the car that was parked there. I was just dozing off, and I was like, you know what, enough is enough. So.
Do you have an update on the intersection project and the timeline? Are we still, do you know if we're on schedule, what that looks like?
So.
I mean, I get that question asked, that's why I'm asking.
I know that there is a timeline out there, so they're gonna have to hurry pretty fast. They haven't come back and asked for any extra time.
Yeah,
We kinda hoped that we would see something last week.
yeah.
Last
I know the
Thursday or
weather's
Friday, they
impacted a lot.
were telling us, you know, we might see a little work and they might do some dirt work, and then I didn't see much this week, so, you know, they still have that timeline, so they'll just, you know, have to work a little harder, and so, as soon as they ask for more.
Didn't know if there
we'll
were
let you
any
know.
changes made with the.
Yeah, Todd was
With the
at our
weather.
meeting, our engineering company, PEC, is gonna reach out to them and get a little better timeline, so, yeah. And I haven't heard yet.
With all the weather, they will have to have some adjustments.
Some
Yeah.
We don't know what that's gonna be yet.
Correct, and as soon as we find that out, we'll push it out on our website and Facebook, so everybody knows.
Any other questions for Thomas?
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Appreciate it.
Good work.
Police?
Good evening. Man, it's been an eventful and busy last 2 months for the police department, but, we're getting some things done. So, rounding out our year, the Kechi Police Department, ended 2024 with approximately 1,645, calls for service. This is according to Central County Dispatch. This number is actually probably a little bit lower just based on if we help a citizen or have a contact or, where it might be not contact, dispatch, it's not tallied up. So, through dispatch, 1,645. We look for that number to increase, dare I use the word substantially, but we look for an increase in calls for service over this next year. Which leads me into, my next point. We're excited to have the positions necessary for a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week police department. Those positions are open. We have interest right now. We're looking to do some interviews probably within the next week or two. So we'll get that slot filled and start looking at getting the coverage and around-the-clock patrol that the city has needed for a while. So we're excited for that. We appreciate you granting us that position. Talking about those positions in our fleet, we're currently having some issues with our older model vehicles again. Both of them been back in the shop again. 18 is over at Kansas Land, having the repairs looked at that they just repaired. So, and then we just put another $3,500 in the Durango for the cooling system and some issues we had there. So, at that point, we decided to look towards Ford instead of Mopar. We placed an order for a F-150 Responder pickup. This is a pursuit rated pickup, F-150 four-wheel drive. This truck will be upfitted to not only handle police emergencies, but we'll also have some other equipment in there for when the weather does get bad, such as this. Thomas is trying to get me to put a snow plow on the front. I'm not gonna do that, but,
No fun.
anyway, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get it upfitted and ready to roll. Unfortunately, it hasn't even hit the assembly line yet, but once it hits, they'll get it out, sir, we'll get it upfitted for us, and it'll be put in service. So, we look forward to that. December, we had an Arcan CPR class. We had a great turnout for that, approximately 15 attendees. A great amount of discussion post. training, and it really fell into the search warrant that we had over here across the street with the fentanyl and the things we have going on in town. I can't stress enough, if you can get some Narcan on hand, get it. If you can get trained in it, please get trained in it. This will be something we do again, probably within the next 6 months. It's a great outreach to the community. At least half of the attendees weren't even from Kechi, they came in from Wichita. So it was a positive turnout. We got some information, we got some knowledge out there. We want to continue to build on that. With that community policing program, we got some great ideas for that. We're going to continue with our movie in the park. That's primarily funded by the opioid settlements that have come through. We've got some other ideas to help build with that cash flow as well. We're looking at doing a trailer as well, probably a 14-foot or so, that we can keep all of our movie in the park supplies in, all our community policing equipment in, and it too will be decaled out with the police department graphics, as well as the One Pill Can't Kill DEA sticker, because we want to push that message as much as we can. We're losing too many people to that pandemic. It's not just in the pills, it's in vapes, it's in everything, and so we're trying to get a handle on that as quickly as possible. Let's see, make sure I checked on my notes here. I believe I did. Again, the community outreach, we got some ideas for some fishing derbies and some other ways to engage the public, so it's going to be good. We've had some discussion, maybe a car show sponsored by the police department to help bring some awareness and whatnot. So yeah, that's what we're looking at.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, and we're glad you're healthy, because the last time we saw you in this room, you were not. So we're glad you're good to go now.
Yes, I was able to finish PT about 7 weeks ahead of schedule. That may or may not be because I was or was not following doctor's orders, but I'm on the mend, so
Well, we're glad you're back. Thank you very much.
appreciate y'all.
Appreciate it. All right. Any questions for Chief? I know he walked off, but he can come back up.
I'm sorry.
You're good. Thank you very much. Planning, zoning, stormwater, code enforcement, anything Dustin does.
Thank you.
Including taking the mail to the post office, because I saw you there.
I was not alone, Chris was with me. Okay, so at the November 12th Planning Commission meeting, we had training. It was put on for the planning commissioners. It was fantastic. His 15-20 minute training turned into an hour. The estimated time went a little overboard, but it was still great training. Let's see. There was no meeting for December for a lack of cases. For January, we've had 5 cases. There were 3 conditional uses and 2 plats. 1 plat will be heard next month by City Council, along with the 3 conditional uses. One of the other ones was pushed back to be reviewed again by Planning Commission in February. Let's see, IT, a new computer has been ordered. It's been delivered and worked on for our new person up at the front. So it's going to get set up tomorrow. Hopefully everything will work on it and we won't have any issues. I can't guarantee anything. Stormwater, working with PEC for the MS4 permit for 2024. Hopefully that's going to get done soon. It is due February 28th, so we still have a little over a month to get that turned in. As far as code enforcement, no code enforcement here in the wintertime, which has been fantastic. So no calls there. Does anybody have any questions for me? I know it was just kind of quick, but.
Do we feel that the new planning commission, even having some new members who may not have attended the training, may need training, or do we think they're good to go? How do we feel about that section?
I feel like the new members were much needed.
Mm-hmm.
It was great to have all the seats filled up.
Mm-hmm.
It was something different to look at, that's for sure. As far as more training or things that you had just discussed, I'm still weighing options and seeing what the plan of attack can be.
Okay.
They can always go and watch the live stream too.
That is true, they can.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure
Yes.
that we were thinking ahead and making sure we're giving them the training that if they need it, that
Uh-huh.
they can, get it.
Yes.
All right, well, any other questions for Dustin? Seeing none, thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Administration?
Mayor and council, I don't have anything to add to what the department heads already covered. I would just like to thank each and every one of them. Everybody in the city has been working their tails off after the first of the year. There's a lot of things to be done after the first of the year, and there's no grass growing under anybody's feet, so everybody is really busy. You saw Dustin at the post office mailing stuff, so we all kind of step in and help out where we can. So we hope things will slow down a little bit. I would just like to elaborate a little bit on the construction zone south of 61st Street. We're having a lot of issues with people driving through that construction area. It is through traffic only, which means if you're going to a business there, you can drive to the business, but you can't use it as a through street. You know, you can't drive all the way through there. The reason for that is that base or that roadway has been milled down, and the base is very fragile, so you have a constant flow of traffic on there, and that breaks down the base and creates extra work, which could turn into, you know, extra funds we have to commit to that project. So we're really trying to keep people off of there. Thomas and his guys go out there, they put the barricades back. You come back the next morning and people have stopped and pulled the barricades out of the way. The police department is starting to enforce that more. They have actually put cameras down there and caught people moving the barricades out of the way, and they will then contact them and issue them citations for doing that. So it is just imperative that people do not drive through there. It's tearing things up, and it's just gonna end up costing the city more money in the long run doing that. So, you know, unfortunately, the construction's kind of halted because of the weather, but those are things that are just beyond our control. It's just too cold for them to do anything down there, but as soon as they can, they will. I do want to reiterate what the mayor said, thanking Public Works. Those guys took a beating clearing snow this year. They had people yelling at them, cussing at them, pulling their vehicles in front of their trucks, and just, you know, being very inappropriate. We were down a couple guys, and Thomas and the guy he had they would work a few hours, they would go home and sleep. They would come back, they would work. And this event that we had is not like a regular snow event. It started with rain, it turned to ice, which prevented them from pre-treating anything, because everything would, if they pre-treated, it would be a waste, because it would just run off the roads. So you had rain, you had ice, you had snow, and we probably had 50 different opinions of how the street should have been cleared. Thomas and his guys are the expert. They've been to the training. They know the best course of action for keeping the streets clear. And unfortunately, during this event, we could not clear every street. So we kind of take the approach that we can do a mediocre job of clearing every street, or we can do a really good job of clearing the main emergency routes. And we feel that's more important. If you can get off those side streets onto a main thoroughfare and in and out of town, those emergency vehicles can get down those main streets and get to the people they need to get to. That's our priority during those times. So, Thomas and your guys, thank you. We do appreciate everything that you did and continue to do.
Yeah, we won't let a few bad apples deter us, so.
No.
We appreciate that, we really do.
Yeah, I would just say that if you visited any other communities, like drove through neighborhoods over the last couple of weeks, ours are looking pretty good.
Yes, they are. Yeah.
Compared to neighboring places.
Yes.
But I also want to say thank you to Debbie and everybody here at City Hall. You're here, so. But I know you got a lot of it too, in front of some of the yelling phone calls, and that's not okay either. So I appreciate you, and I know that City Hall's been down with sickness as well. It's not just Public Works. City staff had it as well. So I appreciate everybody's hard work and running on a crew that's not full every time. So thank you very much for all you guys do.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right. If if there's nothing else from administration, I will move on to executive session, non-elected personnel for 30 minutes. Todd?
Madam Mayor, I move we go into executive session. The subject to be discussed during the executive session is non-elected personnel. The justification for closing the meeting is discussion relating to non-elected personnel matters, and the time and place at which the open meeting shall resume is 8:35 in the city council chamber.
I have a second.
Second?
I have a motion by Todd, second by Matt. All in favor say aye.
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 Carries 4-0.
back up? I don't think so.
Too bad it's fast.
But I mean, I saw Kansas City truck come through, a pickup truck, and then I saw the barricades, so I don't know if they had come through and they just put the barricades out. And then people are just driving through.
As we return to the regular meeting, I want to remind everyone that pursuant to Kansas open meeting statutes, no binding action was taken by the city council while in executive session. Last thing on the agenda is adjournment. I want to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn.
Do I have a second? Second. I have a motion by Karen, second by Kendra. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Carries 4. We are adjourned.